Welcome to episode 8 of Contra Republic. I'm joined by writer, journalist, and expert in picking up fat chicks, Matt Forney.
Introduction. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, Matt, I really wanted to have you on the show because of your work on H-1B visas and the abuse that a lot of American tech workers are facing. This is actually something that's important to me because I'm in school for engineering, and this affects me and a lot of my friends who were very experienced 20, 22 years, and some of them got laid off recently, and they cannot find jobs in the tech field.
Oh yeah, it's awful. I went through my own job struggles when the Great Recession happened. I'm 37. I'm turning 38 in a month. But it's so much worse now with the mass invasion of Indians. Like when you see the statistics that STEM graduates have a higher unemployment rate than liberal arts people with liberal arts degrees, I'm doing what I can to write about and expose this major problem, but like it's a terrible situation for people in those fields and particularly young men.
Yeah, why do you think there hasn't been more action by the administration to deal with this issue?
There's a they've done a fair amount of action, like the $100,000 H-1B application fee. They've been shown to have been slow walking new H-1B and visa applications from India, which is getting to the point where the Indian government is now just submitting formal complaints about it. There have been investigations and whatnot. In terms of decisive action, I see a number of structural problems. Number one is a lot of Republicans who are in India's pocket. I'm in Texas. Greg Abbott is a notorious example of this. He's the reason why whole sections of Dallas now look like Bangalore. Um, Now we're getting some of them out. John Cornyn, the soon-to-be retired senator, was another major driver of this. He fortunately got defeated in the primary this week. So there's a structural issue where you have these pro-mass immigration Republicans still in office. Number two, a lot of banning or curtailing the H-1B, OPT, other programs requires congressional action, and the nature of the House being so closely divided, uh, and the presence of these pro-mass immigration Republicans makes it difficult to just get anything done. I mean, the negotiations over the OBBB were bad enough, but let's say you put forth a bill. I mean, there are legislators trying to do this, like Andy Ogles. Randy Fine is also doing something. Uh, the problem is that you're going to get at least 10, 6 Republicans who are going to vote against these bills in the House, and that basically kills it. Um, in order to get stronger action from Congress on this, you need to lobby them, and there are groups like U.S. tech workers that are doing just that. But the House and Senate Republican majorities have to be expanded, or at the very least, the worst offenders like Cornyn have to be just kicked out of office through primaries. Uh, Now, I'm happy with what the Trump administration is doing, but as a friend of mine puts it, never black pill, always chin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not even Cornyne's not even the worst senator. that asshole from Iowa who constantly blocks shit. He's like, well, it's nothing I can really do. Is like, oh, but I have to put 10% ethanol in my fucking gas tank every week, you dick.
Which one is it? Is it Bernie Moreno or the other one? Who's
The other one,
yeah, who's dead?
yeah, he's a fucking asshole. There's nothing I could do. Is like, yeah, I have to burn ethanol in my tank every week, which is
There's
completely
absolutely
inefficient to create
yeah,
or use.
yeah. It's completely yeah. I'm not as familiar with that. Could you explain a bit more? And I'm not as I mean, I knew about ethanol like 20 years ago when all these subsidies were getting put into place, but I'm not familiar with that issue specifically.
Sweet, I get to bored people with scientific jibber jabber. Well, basically, the issue is ethanol and gas burn at two different temperatures, so the mixture together fucks up the overall engine compartments. And in order to create ethanol, you need to use a large amount of energy to separate basically what is the fuel molecules from the overall coin. So it just is completely inefficient, and if it wasn't for subsidies, wouldn't even be made.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know that there was a number of politicians 20 years ago when this was first being rolled out that complained about it. But the issue was that the farm lobby benefited a lot from these ethanol subsidies. So, in places like Iowa and Nebraska, that more or less got shut down.
Yeah, people don't realize how much, like, when it comes to low skilled immigration, the farm lobby is a lot responsible for that a lot because they don't want to pay people a decent wage to work on their farms, or just do what everyone used to do and have large families if you own a farm.
Well, the issue, yeah, is these firms will always complain. It's like, oh, we can't get Americans to do the job. The refrain of crops rotting in the fields because all the illegal alien fruit pickers got deported. Uh, well, you can't get them because nobody's paying them. It's not just a matter of getting paid a fair wage. A lot of these jobs are terrible to work at. And I don't mean like the work job itself. I mean your boss treats you like shit, and that kind of an undignified environment. Really, you know,
You,
nobody wants to work in that environment. Yeah.
well, most farmers are boomers, and boomers are the most entitled generation on the face of the planet. I work in construction, and it's like, well, the illegals. I was like, the illegals have no other choice. I'm leaving. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. I mean, since you brought up construction, I mean, there's a crisis in contracting right now where you follow the YouTuber Aaron Clary. He did a video on this a few months back about how if you hire a contractor for your house or whatever, there's a 50-50 shot now they'll just fuck it up, and you'll have to spend more money fixing the problems they created. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that these contractors, they pay shit, they treat their workers like shit, so the only people willing to work for them are illegal aliens, drug addicts, or felons.
It's
A
not even
good,
that. Even the normal people's like, oh, I'm getting paid 20 an hour. I should be paid like 40. Fuck this shit. I'm not paying attention to anything I'm doing.
yeah, I mean, a bit of dignity towards the workers, I think, would go just as far as a wage increase. But the people who run these contracting firms, I have some experience here. The boomers who they think they're hot shit because they run a small business, and they treat everyone below them like dirt. Shockingly, nobody wants to put, as you put it, the illegal aliens will put up with this shit because they don't have a choice. It goes back to the mass infiltration of Indians into the tech sector. Indians will put up with this kind of abuse. They're used to it. Their attitude is like they'll put up with it until they can get into a position of power. Then they start abusing people. Whereas if you have a normal,
Kissinger is right. They're just masters of flattery. That's it.
yeah, it's flat. It's flatter. I mean, people frequently quote that Churchill paraphrase where I said the Indian is either at your throat or at your feet, but it's the truth. If they perceive you as being above them, they'll kiss ass and constantly. If they get into a position of power over you, they are some of the most cruel people on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, Indians. One of my friends once said, it's like the only country that would benefit from Maoism would be India.
I mean, I've joked that a country like that needs like a generational dictatorship to iron out all of its problems. I mean, I compared it to say Albania, which is a place where I lived. I lived there during the COVID lockdowns. Well, I got stuck there. Um, Albania was, in many ways, still is a very backwards place. Um, the communist dictatorship during the Cold War, Enver Hoxha, he did the
Yeah,
the
the
obvious
contra,
things like
the
raising
ridiculous. Everyone is against Albania with the all gonna invade Albania. I need to fortify the entire country.
Oh yeah, he banned the code of Lek and the Albanian practice of blood feuds that extend through generations, because it was like, this shit's getting in the way of creating the new socialist man. Um, But when Albania transitioned away from communism with the end of the Cold War, a lot of this stuff came back because the new government was unable to keep order. There, there are Albanians now who basically can't leave their homes because their like grandfather or great uncle, whatever, screwed someone over in a property dispute, and if they step outside their house, they've been marked for death by the offended party. Um, and that's Albania. Like India has so many issues like this that you would need a very a prolonged period of just total totalitarian rule to iron it all out. And there's a risk of them just reverting if it ever ends.
Honestly, the solution the solution is next time India and Pakistan go at it, just let's just let them nuke each other.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen. They've been doing these border skirmishes for as long as each country has existed. Like neither of them have the courage to pull the trigger. To be honest, like you've seen that border ritual ceremony they do at the one
Yeah,
border crossing
yeah, the
with the
peacock.
the ridiculous dancing. That's basically their military doctrine towards each other. A lot of threats, a lot of flashy dances, but nothing concrete.
So basically, every other, no, that basically same way Arabs wage war. Bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah.
they're doing.
It's a persistent thing. Like we've seen this with Iran. There's a lot of threats. There's a lot of bragging. There's a lot of saber rattling. Um, but when push comes to shove, they don't really back any of that up. Like when an Anglo says he's going to kill you, he's actually going to kill you if you don't do X. Whereas, Paul Harvey, the famous radio broadcaster, he was sent to Egypt during the Suez Crisis to report on it, and he talked about how he spent the first couple of days just hiding in his hotel room because he was listening to the radio broadcast, and it was all like, we will bathe in the blood of our enemies. All who oppose us will die 1,000 deaths. And then he realized that Arabs talk like that when they're haggling over a cat.
Yeah, they really do though. Like it's hilarious to see how non-whites are just like, yeah, I'll kick your ass. Like, okay, you just because I've had people threaten to shoot me when I used to do construction in Philadelphia. Like, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna beat your ass. White boys like, okay, you just keep ignoring them, just keep doing what you're doing, and then they're like,
Yeah,
they just
you don't rise to the thing. I mean, it's like that whole Boondocks bit about the. I'm not sure if I can say this on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. The
yeah,
N-word
yeah,
moment,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and the
ruin
guy
your
the
life.
white
It's like, sorry, I'm white. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
the black guy tries to provoke the white guy, and the white guy is like, "I'm white. I don't have to put up with this." And the black guy's like, "Where are you going? This is a perfectly good time to throw your life away."
well, yeah, I mean, Indians don't have think they think I think they really think in the way that their words have power. If they say the right combination of words, because they still believe in magic because they're Hindus, but they
Yeah.
think that if they say the right incantation spell at you, that them raping a 4-year-old is totally morally okay.
Oh yeah. Exactly. These are uh, these are people who believe in like, as I discussed with when the whole Izot thing became that Kiwi Farms post was circulated. Indians and a lot of non-whites think in this shame-based morality where it's all about perception. It's all about how you're perceived by other people. That's the foundation of their morality. Um, it's all about boosting up your reputation, and any action to do that, including behavior that Westerners would consider immoral or outright evil, is acceptable. The only crime is getting caught. Uh, so you have a lot of this threatening, belligerent behavior. But if you call them on it, like nothing happens.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a real issue with non-white psyches. They think that you're suddenly gonna. They're suddenly like, I will kick your ass. So I was like, okay, you can do something.
Yeah, I mean, come and do it. I mean, like it's like how Orc Brand is. Every time someone's like, "Show your face," you pussy, you won't do it, and he'll just he'll do a video where he gives out his address. He's like, "Show up, I dare you."
Show up, you will you have your ass kicked. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the whole thing with a lot. He's what we call internet tough guys. Because a friend of mine also used to do that. He was a neo-Nazi. He's like, yeah, who wants to punch a Nazi? He's my home address. I'll be waiting.
yeah. I used to do an Orc Brand like thing, but like I had to actually people actually did start showing up in the neighborhood, so I had to I had to sort of throttle back on that. Well, also at the time I was living I was living in the New York City area, so it's a lot more convenient for libtards to show up. But yeah, if you call these people on their belligerence, just call their bluff. 9 times out of 10, like they'll just drop it and move on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate funny thing is like when a white person says, yeah, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to fucking kill you. It's like, no, you're not. It's like, no, you're not. It's like, no, I am. I'm coming over there. I'm gonna fucking shoot you in the face.
It's funny because when I moved back to the States about a year ago, there was some dude in my DM, some Mexican dudes like, come to Mexico City. Me and Cuzzo are gonna fuck you up, Holmes. And I just replied with a selfie. It was like, dude, I'm in the airport. What are you waiting for? And it's like, well, he transitions to like insulting how I look. I'm like, well, dude, you wanted to fight. I'm in Mexico City right now. And he's like, bro, that's too public. But like, watch your back next time you're here. And I'm like, okay, sure, pal. You're really living down to the stereotype of Mexicans being lazy here.
They're so lazy they can't even get to the airport. I mean, to be fair, somebody who works with Mexicans, if you don't watch them, they are really lazy.
Oh, absolutely. I lived there for 4 years. Every stereotype is true. A Mexican tells you he's going to show up at 1 p.m. to like do something. You're probably not going to see him until 2:30. Everything is Mexico is a lot more developed than the average third world country, but it still has a lot of this of the issues of those countries. Everything's just slightly off. Even when things work, they're slightly off. It's difficult to describe, but it's things like your internet connection always mysteriously going out at the same time every month because there was an issue with your credit card being billed. It's a transformer exploding randomly across the street, and that knocks out power for the next 12 hours. Things that are individually they wouldn't be so bad, but cumulatively, it just accumulates to the point where, like, I lived abroad for 8 years, and I moved back to the U.S. in part because I just couldn't take it anymore. Eventually, you just hit your tolerance level with this kind of behavior, the fact that nothing works, and it irritates me that the U.S. is heading in that direction, a third world direction where just nothing just works. And as someone pointed out months ago, the people invading don't perceive this at all. They don't understand. They have no frame of reference to how much better things were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And to them, it's still better off than where they came from. That's why on pure economics, without serious action from the federal government, there's always going to be Indians trying to get here, always trying to scam their way here, because it's always going to be an upgrade over their own country. Even if it's worse now than it was 10, 20 years ago, like they don't perceive that because obviously they're not Americans. They don't have a frame of reference. They're just like, it's better. It's still better than India.
Look, man, I went to like the mall I used to go to when I was a kid, and I was like, huh. It used to be like white families. Now it's a bunch of Indians hawking like random shit and niggers. Ah, shit. I say nigger on the show all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to hold back, but apparently
no, you can say
YouTube doesn't seem to care as much anymore because
they really don't care as much. Twitch still cares. Like you cannot you cannot be on Twitch ever.
Twitch is a terrible platform anyway.
Yeah, Hassan Piker's on it. Well, not for very much longer. He's gonna enjoy federal prison.
I see him cutting a deal where he gets a reduced prison sentence, and in terms of, I mean, he's already snitching on everyone he's
Oh yeah,
involved with.
yeah. This one this one thing. If you're going to do a crime, don't do it. Don't do it with the son of a rich Turkish businessman, or don't do any crime with the non-white. They was contrary to popular belief, the non-whites were snitch you out faster than you could say lickety split.
Or to use a sociology term, in the prisoner's dilemma, they always defect.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. I mean, I guess we could move on to the retard right and the inability to understand anything.
Oh yeah, perfect. I was talking about this on Joseph Cotto's show earlier today, so I've got a lot to say about the retard right.
I mean, one of the things, like, I used to really like Tucker Carlson, but like, you know, it's not even like that. The things he's saying are stupid. I've heard these things before. It's like these are all literally the people who were being paid on the alt right who fucked it up, who were connected to Russian intelligence. This is the same shit that people like Stryker were saying, and every single talking point from Russia Today.
It's I'm not going to go so far as to say it's a foreign influence op, but they are definitely taking their cues from non-Americans. I mean, just on the level of audience capture alone, people like Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, their audiences are disproportionately comprised of non-Americans, Mexicans, and Muslims, which has affected their stances on everything, and it also explains why they're so politically impotent. If 9 out of 10 or even 5 out of 10 groypers are living in the slums of Karachi, shockingly, you're not going to see the groyper opinion reflected in politics because they can't vote. They can't vote. In terms of how Americans actually think, it's a very minoritarian view, and the electoral victories of the past month have really just kind of solidified that, solidified the fact that they don't have any real world influence.
I think fundamentally they don't get how off-putting they are to certain people. Like walking around with Hezbollah plastered all over your forehead and "Death to America." That even if I get what you're trying to say, that's off-putting to 90% of people.
Yeah, I mean, who exactly is that supposed to appeal to? I mean, we're talking about what Doomernet did. It doesn't appeal to white Americans because it's like, wait, you're merging our history with that of a bunch of goat fuckers in the Middle East. And it doesn't appeal to the left. In fact, like when he debuted those patches, he was already getting blasted by the leftists who were like, you're promoting colonialism with this stuff. Um, I consider that wing of the retard right, like the whole TRS circle, to be by far the least relevant. We're talking about people who, they peaked at 10 years ago and they never evolved, and they've completely failed to take advantage of the wave of low IQ anti-Semitism. Like someone like Mike Enoch should be like a household name. Uh, but these guys, they've been doing this for as a career for over a decade. And a gay Mexican, a black chick, and a Muslim pimp just stole their lunch.
That is true. But I think TOS, the reason they can't capture this moment is they really like Mike and some of the things. If you listen to the show now, they just hate Americans and are somehow they're worse on economics and just sound like a bunch of psychotic neoliberals. And they also love COVID lockdowns. That's what really sank them of not being able to coast on this.
Yeah, England was hammering on Andrew England was hammering them on that 6 years ago. Why they were all like pro lockdown, not just pro lockdowns and all that. Like they mocked Americans who were upset at that. They called them white dumbasses. It was like McConomy. Look, like it's very nice that the TRS people can make a subsistence living doing podcasts in Sven's basement. but the majority of Americans have jobs that require them to leave the house. Shockingly, a bunch of extremely online goons whose careers can be done from the comfort of their own home couldn't relate to the average American being pissed at being locked in the house. I mean, it's very similar to how the Chapo cells, the dirtbag rep. They're like, well, we never really had a lockdown. Oh, you're just mad about not being able to get at Applebee's for a couple of weeks. No, like to talk about my personal experience. I mean, I guess I'm technically an email job guy, but COVID caused resulted in me losing my job. Um, which was I was working for an Alaskan tourism company at the time, and when the lockdowns happened, the cruises were canceled, everything just stopped, which meant I lost everything basically, and I'm still a little bitter over that because it didn't have to happen, and I was doing
And
extremely well
and you
financially.
got stuck in Albania of all countries, the worst Balkan country in the world.
I mean, it's not that bad, but like it's not a pleasant place
Well,
to
at
be in
least you could
lockdown.
have gotten stuck in Serbia or like Monte or like the Czech Republic, but you got stuck in Albania.
Yeah, I mean, Serbia is a little better. I mean, the issue I ran into Albania was the place where I was living only had running water for 8 hours of the day. Like the water would turn on from like 6 to 10, then it would turn on again from noon to 2, and then it would turn on from like 7 to midnight. And the rest of the time, you couldn't cook, you couldn't, get a glass of water, you couldn't flush the toilet. I asked my landlord about that. He's like, "Oh, that's normal." Like that's normal because I lived in places. I lived in places that are a lot poorer than Albania. I lived in Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine. I've lived in Armenia. I lived in the Philippines for a bit. I would later live in Mexico. Never ran into a situation where they're rationing tap water.
Look, it's fucking Albania. What'd you expect? There's a reason the Serbians tried to genocide them. They can't understand running water.
I mean, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, there were nice things about it, but yeah, it was kind of an unpleasant experience. Yeah, going back to the whole retard right point. It's like, at least with the TRS people, they basically become parodies of themselves. Like the anti-Americanism is very clearly a reaction to the fact that they tried to gain political influence first with the original alt right, and then with NGP. They failed at it, and I'm hazy on the details of how the National Justice Party dissolved, but from what I understand, one of the board members just walked off with everything in the Treasury. With them, it's a matter of bitterness at being rejected in terms of popularity in politics, which is also motivates someone like Richard Spencer, albeit in a different direction. He was rejected. He failed as a political leader, and now he's basically a libtard raging against everyone he perceives as having.
Oh, no, don't worry. Look, he got the booby prize of a very mid 35-year-old woman.
Oh God. I mean, I might go to hell for saying this, but well, I think the kid has been born already. That kid, I think, would have been better off not existing. And we're probably going to see a divorce and a very ugly custody battle in the coming future. It was funny to me how that corner of the internet is always bashing rightoids and talking about how high class they are and how like MAGA is trashy. And when they do the trashiest shit imaginable, like
Look, look. I used to live in Lansford, and that reminds me when I used to live there when I was a kid. Like that, it's that level of like just pure unadulterated white trash. That's Richard Spencer's life right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a rarefied wasp by like Spencer does because I've never impregnated a woman outside of wedlock.
2 women.
Yeah. Oh God. Wait, two? Because
Well, he wasn't married to Rad Femme Hitler when he knocked her up.
I'm referring to her, but he was married
No, there
to.
was a woman before that.
Oh, yeah, you're referring to Megan Bobinick?
Yeah,
Is that confirmed that they had a kid together? Because I
think
thought
it
that was
is.
just at the rumor stage.
Look, I will spread any false rumor about people I don't like on the right.
I
I
mean,
do not care. It's like, is that person gay? Probably.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not disputing. I mean, it's very likely to have happened. I'm just, uh,
Okay, man.
what
On
a
the
what a what a
on the
load
week
of
on
Maury
the week
trash.
yeah. Sorry. But on the week why does everyone always bring up those two books you wrote that are clearly jokes? To like, look, you wrote a book about having sex with Filipinos and fat chicks.
Well, I mean, the Filipino book was sincere, but I also pulled it like from sale years ago because my beliefs changed, and I, wasn't interested in promoting foreign sex tourism anymore. I mean, like, what do you expect me to do? I mean, like, I can't erase all evidence of it from the internet, and I'm no longer. I can't like if someone has like a used copy in their face, but I can't exactly stop them from doing
Matt, you're
it.
cutting out.
Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me now?
You sound like really far away, like you're in a.
Let me try and I might have to duck down. Is that any better?
No.
Better?
No.
I will. I'll exit from the screen briefly.
Okay. Great. I have to entertain people on my own. Suck at that. While we wait for Matt to get back, really, I have nothing interesting to say right now. To be honest, I generally don't really have anything interesting to say when I'm by myself. That's why I have a co-host who's busy because I don't know why he's busy. He's always busy. Maybe he's Canadian. That's why he's busy. They always pretend that like they're doing something. Everyone knows nothing interesting is ever going on in Canada.
Okay, is this any better?
That's better, Matt. But I'm just saying, like, why not do How to Pick Up Fat Chicks second edition?
That book was an obvious parody that I think I pulled that off 10 years ago. I mean, pull it off sale because it was a parody of the whole fat acceptance thing that was very common. Like that was something everyone made fun of around circa 2013 when I wrote that. Like fat people hatred, the fat people hatred Tumblr, body acceptance, all that. I got many of the ideas from just reading that. I don't even know if that blog still exists anymore, but it was some of the most disgusting stuff I ever read. Like a couple writing about how we're too fat to have penetrative sex. Like, how do you get to that point? I mean, like, how do you get to the point where your bits no longer work? It was almost like ages and ages ago, Vice ran a column called "Bogs to the Hippocratic Oath," which was written by anonymously written by an NHS doctor who talked about like the really fucked up shit she saw in the emergency room, and she told the story of a morbidly obese person she treated who came in complaining about like a burning sensation in his crotch. This guy was so fat that his penis completely disappeared into his fat folds, and he was urinating on himself, and it caused a chemical rash. Like, how do you get? It's like I used to be fat. I mean, I've gained a bit of weight over the past year. I'm getting rid of that, but like, I went from being 270 pounds to about 170 pounds in a year, without Ozempic, I might add, and because I was starting to have health problems, and it was like, okay, I need to get this under control, or like I might not be alive much longer. How do these people not have like this come to Jesus moment where it's like, okay, my penis has completely disappeared and I can't urinate normally. It's time to lose some weight.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I feel bad for the doctors who have to like do emergency surgery on these people. Imagine the poor hands.
Yeah, I mean it's like
You could,
that episode of House where they have to lift the morbidly fat, obese the dead morbidly obese person out of his apartment with a crane.
oh yeah. Another thing is, man, I had a brief stint as a guy who cleaned up crime scenes. I'm not doing that job again. It pays really well, but it's fucking gross. But we had to clean up a fat guy, and he just melted into everything. And we have respirators, but I after that vomited
He
profusely.
he he melted. Like, was this like a situation where someone dies alone in an apartment and nobody
Mm-hmm.
discovers the body for a week?
Yeah, when you basically don't find a body for a week, it basically melts into the floor.
Oh my god!
So imagine like it was pretty gross. The point is like fat people are disgusting and they deserve to be made fun of.
Oh
They're
yeah,
the worst
I mean.
people. Like fat people shouldn't be allowed to have opinions.
I mean, I wouldn't go quite that far, but like, it's a lot easier to respect someone who's in shape. Okay, I mean, the number of like, and again, going back to the whole of fat acceptance and body shaming that spawned that parody book. The excuses I heard were it was like, well, I got a thyroid condition, beautiful at any age. Is where the number of people who are like have genuine weight problems due to a glandular disorder, whatever, is very, very small. I worked for a few years back. I worked for a startup in California that was selling an erectile dysfunction device. So
Matt,
it's also,
your audio is fucking up again.
God damn it! I'll be right back.
Yeah, I swear I cannot do this podcast without fucking technical difficulties. A lot of technical difficulties today.
Is that any better?
Yeah, it's better.
I was working for a company that sold a TV product, and our customers was moving. A lot of fat. We got a lot of complaints from dudes in their 60s, 50s, 60s. I've got diabetes. We're eat, there were dudes who would return the product because their penises were too small to use it properly. And it's like all of this was self-inflicted. Now, like, there were some legitimate cases of ED that we really couldn't help. Like, if you have prostate cancer and you have to have your prostate removed, like, you're going to have a very, very hard time getting an erection. It's like, that's out of your control. I get that. Type 2 diabetes is caused by being a being obese is caused by being a glutton. And I also got a lot of people like, well, let's say make my penis bigger. And it's like, no, there's only one way that can make your penis bigger, and that's losing weight. Like, just stop. It's disgusting. The whole entire reason that company even had a consumer base was because so many groups are morbidly obese and didn't take care of themselves.
Yeah, I mean that tends to happen. I mean, another thing when we're getting back on the retard right they don't get is Muslims don't like Christians and actively persecute them. They think like there's like this Muslim Christian alliance. It's the Jews making them hate the Muslims. Like, oh yeah. Islam's not a problem in the United States because they're very small minorities. Like, no, they're still a massive issue.
Well, yeah, just because someone else hates the same people that you do doesn't make them a friend. It's like, remember, it was like, look at these people who will say, like, who opened the gates of Toledo? And my response is, who was outside the gates of Toledo? Who are they opening it for? Uh, Muslims have had a very hostile relationship with Christians for years. I read about this in the context of the Barbary Wars. From the advent of for about I don't know, like, Muslim piracy in the Mediterranean and throughout Europe was a major concern. I mean, as far north as England and Iceland, if you live by the coast, there's a very good chance during your lifetime a Muslim slaving ship from North Africa would show up, burn the village to the ground, kill you, and take your wife and your children as slaves. That went on forever and ever. The only thing that stopped it was when America went to war against the Barbary states in the early 1800s, and that was mainly just because Tripoli and the other states, they had these low flat boats that were good for raiding, but they could not cross the Atlantic. So the U.S., unlike the European states, could go and bomb the hell out of Tripoli and then sail back without fear of any retaliation.
There is, of course, issues like some libtards will bring up the Crusades. It's like, the Crusades were a response, a delayed response to the mass invasion of the Holy Land by Muslims. You the grooming gangs in Britain right now. Muslims have had this exploitative, hostile, violent relationship towards Christians for years. It doesn't matter if they don't like Jews. Um, the the enemy of your enemy is in most cases also your enemy.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, it's like when these people's like, well, if you don't side with Palestinians, you side with Israel. It's like I don't want my money going to any foreign government. I don't think it's in our interest to be allies with Israel. However, Iran is cannot act like international pirates anytime they don't get their way.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective is like I don't really care about Israel. I mean, I see the strategic. I see a strategic relationship with them having value for American interests, but like I don't care about Israel beyond that. But I'm not interested in the Palestinians either. They're far worse of a group. Uh, the thing is with the great Muslim like libtard consensus, and that's basically just an extension of anti-white hatred. Like they view Israel as being like America, a white supremacist colonial settler state. The same arguments they use against Israel are the same ones they use against America. We're living on stolen land. We stole it from the indigenous people. We're terrible colonizers, and we deserve to basically die at the end of the day. It's how it's their vision for America is South Africa. It's like, does that make Israel our greatest ally? Absolutely not. But it doesn't make the people opposing them our allies either. My stance right now is, for all the problems I have with Israel, the anti-Israel people have become a far bigger concern. I mean, like with the Charlie Kirk assassination, it wasn't people with Israeli flags who were wishing for my death. It was libtard, Palestine flag. Oh, we're gonna kill you, you fucking fascist. And it's like,
Well, that's
this is
not.
it's a very simple friendship that so many people keep failing.
Well, that's fundamentally the issue. Like people's like, who shot Charlie Kirk? It's like the crazy psychotic troon furry guy who was a psychotic leftist. Like, no, we need a 900 transvestigations of the windage of and it was Israel. It's like
They they can't and they have failed to establish any real causal link between Charlie Kirk's assassin and Israel. It's just a very vague motive, and it's not even a particularly strong motive. It comes down to, oh well, he was allegedly turning against Israel, so they decided to kill him. It's like
he wasn't though.
Yeah, I say that's why I say allegedly, but like that is a very, very, very weak motivation. It basically relies on you thinking of Israel as cartoon. It's the same logic used with JFK. It was like Israel killed JFK because he was exposing the Israeli nuclear program. Like, JFK was the first openly Zionist president that we had. He deliberately courted support from Zionists and Jews during his campaign. After he won the election, he went straight to David Ben Gurion, the Israeli prime minister, and told him straight up, you have done something for me, now I must do something for you. He lifted the arms embargo on Israel that Truman had put in place over a decade before. He sold them high-tech weapons, and the whole idea of Israel being our greatest ally was started with JFK. The idea and his opposition to Israel's nuclear program wasn't based in any sort of like, oh well, he was based in red pill on the Jews. Nuclear non-proliferation has been a plank of left-wing ideology going back to when nuclear weapons were invented. Like Obama was very motivated to prevent nuclear proliferation. That's in part why he did the whole Iran deal. Israel was not special in that regard. JFK was also opposed to, say, a country like Egypt.
Yeah, fundamentally, yeah, the retard right is convinced that it was like Oswald didn't shoot him. It's like, well, Oswald did shoot him. Oswald was a Soviet spy and a Soviet assassin who shot Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's more likely that he was shot by the mob, and also the people arguing that JFK was some sort of base noticer don't know, forget that he was very very close to Jewish mob figures. I mean, he pardoned Meyer Lansky, who was one of the major mafia figures of the 20th century.
Yeah, JFK was corrupt as shit. He lost to Nixon. He cheated cheated in Texas to beat Nixon. Nixon won that election, but Nixon cared too much about the unity of the nation to push the issue.
Yeah, he believed in process, and he believed that if you push it, the country would have fallen apart. Yeah, the retard right makes these. It's the kind of causal leaps of logic that can only come from a low IQ mind. If you follow George Bush, who was previously working on Casey Butch's campaign, he made a post about how he believes lead poisoning is responsible for a lot of this sort of insane conspiracy theory. Because you'll notice with a lot of these retard right figures, a lot of them are Gen X. They're either Gen X or they're older millennials or very young boomers. This coincides with the period in American history where lead poisoning levels were at their highest, when pretty much all gasoline was leaded. This lead exposure caused legitimate brain damage to people. That's why leaded gas was phased out starting in the mid-80s. And he also made the point that lead poisoning is still very prevalent in a lot of third world countries. Mexico, Thailand, the Philippines. All these places still have lead paint, leaded gasoline, lead everywhere, which is why a lot of the people from those countries also behave in these retarded ways. And he signaled this is going to cause major problems in politics and governance because, I don't know how old you are. There are a lot of Zoomers who think that when the boomers are going to go, like they're going to take over. It's like, no, it's going to be the next generation in line. And the next generation in line after the boomers, in terms of age, is Gen X, the people who are primarily affected by this lead poisoning.
Yeah, that is a real issue among Gen Xers. I've noticed they all have to have these really weird conspiratorial things, like these rabbit holes that look at all these things like, okay, these go nowhere. None of these things you're alleging go anywhere.
Yeah, it explains why you'll have these Gen X figures who will get just a little bit of exposure to the red pill and they go completely insane. I mean, even someone like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is very squarely Gen X, and as soon as he got into
No, Matt. I generally think Elon Musk is just autistic. That's the yeah, he's just severely autistic.
There's also the autism, but his behavior is not that far off from someone like Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly.
No, I generally think Elon just has severe autism because he just acts like what every teenage boy would do if they were insanely wealthy, is have a harem of psychotic women and to bear his progeny.
And also be obsessed with space rockets.
Yeah, that is true.
It makes sense. He does have the aesthetic and sensibility of like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, look, he spends all day playing Diablo. He spends all days with rockets. He pays women to sleep with him, and is currently constantly being harassed by a league of evil women of women he knocked up.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. But I think that's an issue going forward because in terms of the retard right doesn't have any real political influence now. I mean, Thomas Massey being defeated should have really solidified that for people. But the issue is that this sort of conspiracy theory thinking on both right and left is going to take over politics, as Julie predicted, simply because when the boomers pass, it's going to be Gen Xers taking over positions of power.
I mean, yeah, that's going to be a horrible thing to watch as people start screaming, and the fucking lizard people, I'm running against the lizard people. My opponent is for the lizard people.
Yeah, it's going to like something out of The Simpsons or Futurama. I'm not looking forward to this at all.
Yeah, the fundamental issue really is the retard right is ultimately the remnants of what I used to hang out with, which was the anti-corporate left, the weirdo people convinced that vaccines cause autism. They don't. Uh, people who drink raw milk, and basically the weirdos who are into all these weird health fads. They all kind of got shoved into a blender, and you got the modern retard right.
Yeah, yeah. Plus the influence of third worlders, as we discussed on our show earlier today. It was a lot of people are just playing to an audience in Karachi or Tegucigalpa now, but not playing to actual Americans. There's just more of them now. There's just so much third world penetration on the internet thanks to smartphones being available everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. These people's like, I'm risking so much doing all this. Like, no, you're not. You people are literally playing to the stupidest group of people on Facebook. Matt, me, you, everyone who's not trying to say stupid shit on the internet 24/7. Tomorrow, I can make a bunch of retarded videos saying and Zionist this, and it would get 300,000 views.
Yeah.
It's not even hard. You could just make some.
The people 10 years ago were taking the risk because the public consensus was a lot more overtly Zionist and left wing. Now, pretty much everyone who does this now is a Johnny come and they're promoting the dumbest versions of stuff that was already hashed out a decade ago. Like, how many times do I have to hear about how the Talmud has the quote about Jesus Christ boiling excrement? It's like, I learned about that 15 years ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, I learned about that like 15 years ago too, and also the USS Liberty. Hey, remember the Liberty?
Yeah,
Like
I heard about that for almost my entire life as a public intellectual.
Yeah, I heard about that when I was like 8 from some weird left-wing anarchists I used to hang out with. So. Yeah, these people think they've discovered fire when they've come up with these things. I mean, to be fair, Matt, I will say some of the retard right's conspiracy theories are pretty funny, especially when like the retard right turns on each other. Like, there's this one guy who's like this complete shizo who harasses Nick Fuentes, who like Nick Fuentes is actually a Talmudic Jew trying to divide the American right.
Is that Bilzerian or Jake Shields?
No, this isn't any not affiliated with them. It's like this guy on YouTube is just like making complete shizo rant videos about Nick Fuentes.
This sounds amusing.
It is amusing, and I'm like, it's like like the ancient alien type guys.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened to those conspiracy theories? At least those were fun. The new ones are just retarded.
Yeah, I mean, that's really another issue with retard right is that they're just not funny. I mean, like, the anti-Semitism of the alt-right of 10 years ago was like trying to be funny, in both consciously and like in troll. Like, it was funny. The Echoes meme was funny because it trolled a ton of Jews and me and government to just like identify themselves. It was funny to strike back and humiliate the powerful. But everyone today is very humorless about the whole thing. It's like, you're a Jew, this is a Jew, this is a Jewish conspiracy.
Matt, Forney, that sounds kind of Jewish.
Oh.
Yeah, I found you out.
Good soups, I've been found out.
Well, the funny thing is, Fuentes actually is a Jewish last name.
Yeah, it's a Sephardic, if I believe.
Yeah, so it's like, you're a Jew. It's like, oy vey, Mr. Fuentes. This insult shall not stand.
I mean, interesting fact is that a lot of Latinos of European and Spanish descent have higher than normal Jewish descent. Like, a ton of them are descended from conversos.
So Fuentes is Jewish, confirmed.
It's a little thing that they don't like to talk about for obvious reasons. But there's there's way more Sephardic DNA spread out among Latinos, particularly in Mexico, compared to the modern Spanish population.
Yeah, I mean, I think another fundamental problem with the retard right is they're like, well, like, being against Israel is the ultimate thing. Also, you need to support X, Y, and Z other country. I'm like, you people are fucking retarded and have no sense of geopolitics. Like, I don't get what, like, the geopolitics is just let third world shitholes do whatever they want and never respond to them.
Well, this is where you get people like a few support lines like, yeah, you're neocon. Like, in these people's view, anyone who has any foreign policy other than abject surrender is neocon. Neoconservatism has a very specific meaning. Neoconservatives are people like Bill Kristol, Robert Kagan,
Max
Wolfowitz.
Boone.
Yeah, and you'll know something interesting. All of these actual neocons are against the Iran war. Like Kagan is raging against it. Bill Kristol's against it. It's not a war. It's not a regime change, building democracy, pseudo Trotskyist war. Now there are good reasons to oppose the Iran war. I mean, there are people who argue that it's not in America's interests. I mean, Bronze Age Berber had probably the best argument in that the Iran war rewards factions of the GOP that are anti-Trump. But the idea that having a muscular foreign policy is neocon is retarded. I mean, I made fun of this ages ago. I did a thread called "Great Neocons of History," and it's all about James Polk, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, all those, William McKinley. Basically, anyone who ever fought a war, any president who ever fought a war in American history was a neocon.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, I don't think we should be involved in the Iranian war because fundamentally, it's really not our problem. If Iran was just saying, yeah, we're going to leave shipping alone, don't get involved between us and Israel killing each other, it's like, yeah, that's fine. You guys kill each other. Leave international shipping alone. But they don't. That's the issue. They don't leave U.S. international shipping lanes alone. And part of America's power is we control and facilitate freedom of navigation with the U.S. Navy. And if we don't do that, we're going to lose a lot of soft power and ability to bully people with the Navy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is something that libertarians fundamentally miss.
Hold on a second. I'm getting a call.
You have your ringtone. But this is something that libertarians fundamentally don't understand. Like the ones like Austrian school types who support the gold standard. It's like fiat currency is based on nothing. It's like the U.S. dollar is not based on nothing. It's backed by hot lead, the hot lead of the U.S. military, particularly the Navy. The dollar is the world reserve currency because the U.S. military is capable of enforcing that, both in a hostile sense, but also protecting free commerce. This is something that is this is the source of America's power. This is where you get people who are still talking about the petrodollar like it's 2003. It's like blah blah blah. America's going to war to protect the euro. China is creating the petro yuan. The reserve currency status of America is over. It's like, first off, if the dollar ever loses reserve currency status, you and everyone you know will die. A friend of mine put it like that because it will immediately make the dollar worthless. It'll make Weimar hyperinflation look like the Chicago school. It basically will force a civilizational collapse, and then every other fiat currency will follow immediately. Because anytime there's an economic tremor in America, it reverberates throughout the world. Number two, the petrodollar doesn't exist anymore. It's no longer relevant. That comes from a time when America was dependent on OPEC and foreign oil exchange. We're now a net energy producer. 2 years ago, Saudi Arabia withdrew from the original petrodollar they didn't so much work through us. They just didn't bother renewing. And what happened to the dollar? Absolutely nothing. None of this matters. We moved into a stage in which the dollar is no longer being propped up by oil transactions or whatever. It's being propped up entirely by the power of the Navy. And I believe, like I said, I'm in favor of the war in Iran, but I understand why people are against it. It's a very fair argument that it's not in America's interests. What isn't what is retarded, in my opinion, is thinking that it was puppeteered by Israel and blah blah blah. Trump has been talking about wanting to knock out Iran since the 80s. I mean, he's gone about to the degree where he would say things like, we should target Karg Island, which is where the refining capability is. It's something that he's been in the back of his mind for almost the entire time he's been a public figure. Arguing that this was the result. I mean, obviously there was Israeli influence here, but claiming that everything is a Zionist plot is insane.
Sorry, that was my doctor.
Oh, no worries.
Everything's fine.
But yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at a situation in terms of politics. I'm a little concerned about gas prices, energy prices, but there is evidence to suggest that they're going to come down level out. And right now it looks pretty clear that the war is going to be over. If not in the next month, by the end of the summer.
Yeah, but my main concern is a lot of people in Trump's base really can't afford these. Most people can't afford these elevated gas prices for an extended period of time.
That's an issue. I mean, but I think the prices are going to start coming down over the summer. Because what's going on right now is that almost all the oil trade has been redirected to America itself. There was actually a deal. Why am I blanking his last name? The Treasury Secretary. He brokered a deal with China where they're now buying oil and gas directly from us, which gets rid of Iran's leverage because they were originally getting their oil by sweetheart stealth tanker deals from both Iran and Venezuela. Now China has to get oil from the U.S., gas from the U.S., and they have to pay market rates for it, which is going to benefit American industry in the long haul because China is far less competitive on the international market. Like the whole reason why manufacturing in China was affordable was because they were paying below market rates for energy. Now the problem is, as you said, in the short term, this is causing an upward pressure on energy prices. This is going to harm it's obviously hitting people around the wall, and it could potentially harm the Republicans going into the elections of the year. But Trump has forced a restructuring in which the United States will be basically control the world's energy supply, both directly or indirectly. We basically have Venezuela under our thumb right now, and he's aiming to do something similar with Iran.
Yeah, I mean, but the issue I really see with Iran is, there's someone like Reza Pahlavi, but the fundamental issue with all of it is, I generally just don't think we can create a functioning Iran without creating some sort of totalitarian police state, which is fine by me. It just it seems like it's a lot of risk, especially during the midterms, and this is a very important midterm, really.
I think the issue, a friend of mine put it to me like this a month ago. The Trump administration isn't interested in regime change so much as they're interested in regime compliance. Like, they don't care who runs these countries so long as they're not screwing with America. Like, with Venezuela, all we did was kidnap Maduro, put him in Rikers, and put him on trial. This scared the rest of the government into compliance to the point where we're normalizing relations with them. The crude oil from Venezuela is now being redirected to refineries in Texas and Louisiana. We'll probably, we're probably going to fully normalize diplomatic relations with them in the next year. The same thing with Iran is that Trump would probably like to depose the Iranian government, but ideally what he wants to do is just to get them to stop. He wants to get to the plate ball of American interests. He's perfectly happy with the IRGC.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I didn't realize it, but everyone's saying your audio sucks.
Oh God. Well, I will be back in 30 seconds.
Man, still having audio problems. This is why I don't read the chat. City of London. What? What does that even mean?
Okay, is that any better?
It's sort of better.
Yeah, sorry guys.
See, Matt is a poor white man. He can't afford a microphone. The Indian government stole it. But one thing I did want to touch on, Matt, is like how the Indians keep threatening to rape and murder you. Like you really piss them off. Like you specifically, like, yeah, like your sister does OnlyFans. I'm like, man, I don't even think you have a sister.
I'd rather not discuss my family publicly, but I think part of the reason why people find Indians so grating is that they do things like that. Like they have no subtlety, and they have no ability to even mimic normal human behavior. Like, in terms of like self-awareness, pretty much every other group is willing to accept some level of criticism. Blacks are, Jews are, Latinos are, actual Asians are, like obviously you have to do the whole racism shit, but they will acknowledge that their groups got problems. Indians, on the other hand, their immediate response to any criticism is "fuck you, fuck your mother, I rape your mother, bloody bastard, bitch," And,
I mean, they also seem, the lack of self-awareness also makes them not alert to dangers because they like to walk in front of trains or like antagonize large predators.
There was someone who said like this: if a Chinese person a wall on the street, he'll just quietly pocket it. If an Indian comes across a wall lying on the street, he'll take the wall and then start parading in front of everyone. Look at this wall! I've got so much money now, which demonstrates the difference in mentality these two groups have. Indians have no ability to moderate their behavior. The other issue why people find them great is that they don't have a history of being oppressed. Okay, blacks kind of point to slavery and Jim Crow. Jews can point to the Holocaust. With America, like Indians, don't have a history of being oppressed or being discriminated. They don't have a long history here. They've only been present in significant numbers for about 40 years tops. As a friend put it, Indians are too new in America to be hated for anything other than who they are and what they do. And they don't have a victim narrative to fall back on.
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally the reason Indians are not good at not everyone notices what they're doing is they for some reason need to shout out what they're doing. It's like someone who has Tourette's who's like, I'm committing fraud.
I rape your mother. We take all the white women.
It's like they're not even like subtle about it. They're like, we're the Jews of the West. That's like in the East. That's like, no, I think that's the Japanese. If I would say the Japanese are definitely the Jews of the East.
I mean, that's not a comparison I would make.
Well, no, an Indian guy literally told me that.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah, that like he unironically saying like a positive thing, like they are the Jews of the East. I'm like, I don't think it's like that's.
You're inviting all kinds of negative comparisons, like the cheapness. Indians are notoriously cheap. I mean, I read about this. I was talking to someone commented on a post about how he used to work at a sub shop when he was a teenager. Indians would always come in and order the black bean patty sauce, the cheapest thing on the menu, and they would get every single free topping, every vegetable, every sauce. They get both light and regular mayo. He's like, that sounds absolutely disgusting. And he eventually became because they think they're beating the system by getting the most value. I was talking to another friend of mine who used to work for, at a pizza place, and he said that Indians they'll always order vegetarian pizzas. They'll always order every free item they can get. You know, forks, knives, napkins, cheese, chili flakes. You know, whenever they were told that cheese and chili flakes are 50 cents extra, they've not bought them anymore. They'll do things like make multiple orders under the same name simultaneously, so that they can take it, so that they can get around the one coupon per order limit. I even think their fascination with vegetarian food just comes down to the fact that vegetarian options are cheaper than meat. Because like Hindus are like not allowed to eat beef, but they're allowed to eat other types of meat. They go to vegetarian food because it's inexpensive. Like that's how cheap they are.
Yeah. Like there's something mentally wrong with these people. Like I generally think, like looking at India, like just the way these people walk away from train accidents. Like if you even in like the other countries that have problems with safety, like on job sites, the people are at least like shocked and like running over trying to help the guy. They need to like they just do the head wobble. They're just like doing nothing. It's like someone just got hit by a train.
They react like sheep in Minecraft, just like falling off of a cliff or getting walking into a lava.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
No life, or including their own.
Yeah, I mean they truly are Minecraft villagers. They're like, meh. Wait, they even kind of make that noise, meh.
Yeah, it's just utterly bizarre, and it's a big part of life. The Indian invasion right now, like none of this is new. The British Empire famously liked to shuffle Indians around the empire to loot the demographics of places that were a little too rebellious. They did this in Sri Lanka. They imported a ton of Indians from the mainland to basically prevent the native Sri Lankans from rebelling. You remember the Tamil Tigers, the insurgency that lasted like 30 years, and that only ended at around 2009, I believe. The Tamils are Indians. They're Indians who were moved, the descendants of those that the British moved from the mainland. The British moved so many Indians to Fiji that there are now more Fijian Indians than native Fijians. Guyana is another example. There are a ton of Indians in the Caribbean. They all got moved there after the empire abolished slavery. So the plantation owners just brought in Indians to do the work that blacks were no longer black slaves were no longer free. Guyana is a major example. The country's 50% Indian, 50% black, and their two major political parties are like there's an Indian party and there's a black party. So it's pretty much a case of nothing new being under the sun.
Yeah, I mean the same thing happened in South Africa. There's a bunch of Indians there. I mean they truly are they truly are the perfect slave race. They're like that one way, not to use a Doctor Who reference of that race that loves being invaded and just basically kisses ass anytime someone invades them.
Oh yeah. I'm not familiar with Doctor Who, but I can understand the concept.
They truly are like they think they're like we are superior. It's like no, you're not. You people are literally just brown biomass. Who, if you got too close to the levels of power, people would beat you with a stick. And you're
Yeah, and they always do the we was thing, where it's like we have a great culture that spans back from the Indus and has been around for thousands of years. And like,
it doesn't like
look at the state of you now.
Well, look, Matt, if you ever want to piss them off and get an Indian frothing mad at you, bring up Nader Shah and how he basically completely routed the entire Indian army in 6 hours that outnumbered him. Like
I'm not familiar with this.
Nader Shah was the last great emperor of the Safasid dynasty in modern day Iran, and he basically trekked over the mountains in the 1700s to invade India, and the Indian army went out. They couldn't agree on who's in charge, the king, and where to attack first. So they were all attacking in different directions. And Nader Shah only had 40,000 men to their 180,000, along with 3,000 war elephants, and he destroyed the entire Indian military in 6 hours.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, during the height of the British Raj, the British never had more than 3,000 soldiers in India, in a country that was at the time 250 million people. That's in part because Indians are they're not very militarily adept, and they're easy to control. In fact, as I've pointed out, Hinduism isn't even a real religion. It's not real in the same way that, say, Christianity or even Islam. Hinduism was basically the British synthesizing various pagan traditions across India into a sort of a unified whole. Let's think about this logically. India as a unified nation state, a sort of ethnos, only really dates from 1947, which is when they became independent from Britain. Before that, it was very much like Roman era Europe or Dark Ages Europe, just a bunch of different empires. Yeah, a bunch of different empires and states. And it's like Europe never had pre-Christian Europe never had there were similarities between various pagan heathen folk religions, but there was no unified pagan religion. Greeks and Vikings did not worship the same way. They didn't worship the same gods. The idea that you have a politically shattered continent, but they all had a unified religion in this manner is completely laughable. And I don't think the British did it in part both as a means of social control as well as just autistic cataloging of everything. So you had some autist who has an interest in ancient history, comes to India, starts digging up all the ancient texts, trying to make sense of it all. But also the reason the British promoted Hinduism is because the Hindus, if you want to put gigantic air quotes around that, were historically the weakest group in India. At the time the British began sort of trading and extending their influence over Indian force, it was Muslim empires that were dominant. The Mughal Empire, etc. It's very possible that had the British not stepped in, all of India would have become Muslim. But it goes back to violanism, if you're familiar with Spandrel's theory. The way to assert control is to get the weakest group in a society to side with you. Because the strong group doesn't really need you. The strong group, anyone who can demonstrate strength or competence or merit, has no real incentive to be loyal to you in the long run, because they'll just be fine with that. But if you get the weakest, most pathetic group, they will be utterly loyal to you, because they know that if you leave, they're just going to go back to being prey. And in colonial India, Hindus were the weakest group. They were the ones who were easier to control. They were the ones who were easier to convince British imperialism is good, actually. Violanism goes back to actual Leninism, where the Russian Revolution was a revolt of the empire's minorities against ethnic Russians. It was Jews, Ukrainians, Georgians, Latvians, Finns, all of that. The British basically just took this and applied it to India on a large scale.
Yeah, I mean, the British should have never given up the control of India. Now we have to deal with them.
Yeah. I mean, I've joked, there are people who want to go back in time to, smother baby Hitler at the crib. If I had the option to go back in time, I would go back to whatever decision point in the 1600s or 1700s was, and have India be taken over by Portugal or France so that they could be somebody else's problem. Because the only reason the main reason they're a problem in America is because they speak English, because their English is terrible. But the Philippines is a similar relationship, where the reason we have to deal with outside Filipino outsourcing to offshoring to the Philippines and so many Filipino nurses because they speak English.
Well, look, I don't know. I've had to deal with some Filipino nurses in the hospitals. They're really not as bad as the Indians.
Oh no, not they're not in the same galaxy.
I mean, they're at least kind of nice about it. Like, the Filipinos are pretty cool people, but they still should be in the country. But they're leagues above an Indian in quality of human behavior.
Well, they're very jolly people. They lack any concept of future time orientation, but they're fun to be around. And at least they produce some hot women, whereas India is very deficient in that department.
Yeah, like there's no such thing as a hot Indian woman. Like the hottest woman in India is an aggressive 7.
Yeah, yeah, we're talking maxing out at like Katie Fancy.
Yeah. But Matt, I always notice anytime anybody like starts trying to start beef with you on Twitter, it's always the dumbest arguments. It's always about like you're like, you support Israel. It's like I don't actually.
Well, I mean, when you're below a certain threshold, you're incapable of grasping any sort of nuance. Like, it's funny how people meet people who constantly criticize neocons and Forever Force have basically adopted their own inverted version of George W. Bush's. If you're not with us, you're with the terrorists. Their version is, if you're not with us, you're with the Zionists. It's like, kind of annoyed with both of you.
I think the leader of the Iron Guard said something of those 3 types of anti-Semitism: intellectual anti-Semitism, reactionary anti-Semitism, and instinctual anti-Semitism. He said the first 2 are completely nonsensical and you need to be intellectual about your anti-Semitism. And even Hitler, these people love to bring up Hitler, and it's like even Hitler thought a lot of the anti-Semitic magazines at the time were completely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Hitler himself ridiculed the Minions in other the people in other countries who kind of imitated it. He said very clearly in Mein Kampf, National Socialism is a solution for the German people at a specific time. And his viewpoint was that other countries needed to develop their own solutions to the problem today.
Well, no, Matt. Hitler was a wholesome Chungus multiculturalist fighting against Jewish imperialism.
Yes, he loved black people. He loved the handicapped. He was a vegan. He hated smoking. He was a very
wholesome character.
He was a wholesome Christian boy.
Yeah, I do. Matt, you know what I find interesting? All the things these people are trying, like on the retard right, the white nationalists tried in the 90s and 80s. Like, we've been down this road. It went nowhere.
I mean, when you've been around for as long as I have, you start to get a little depressed because you see the same patterns playing out again. Like, what's going on with the retard right is just a larger, lower IQ version of what the alt-right went through a decade ago.
I know. I was around for that. I remember that. But again, it happened in the 80s and 90s. Like, these people, stupid people, and like emotionally broken people will just glom on to right-wing movements and fuck them up. Look what happened to the American Nazi Party of when that one guy didn't get his way and Rockwell kicked him out. He shot him.
Oh yeah. Like when you build a movement that consists of unstable, unreliable people, you shouldn't be shocked when they behave in unstable, unreliable ways. I mean, we're seeing it right now with a complete collapse in the retard right, which began when Casey. Well, I'd say it began with AFU, Anti-Semitic Firefest, because even a lot of people mentioned retard right were like, oh, this is fucking retarded. It has a Muslim and a hijab, an anti-ICE Mexican, and it's being emceed by a homosexual with a diaper fetish. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It accelerated after Casey Bush lost.
It sounds like a really bad pornography.
Oh yeah. I think wow.
I'm sorry, but like some of the things these people say like are just so mind-bogglingly funny. I just think about it for a second. It's like just like they sorry, I lost my train of thought. They think simultaneously Trump should endorse them while also insulting them. And I had Casey on the show, and he generally seems like a nice person, and he seems like the only person in that group who's normal, like a normal person.
I'll give him credit for running in the first place. He's another person who seems like they got captured by suffered audience capture. He blocked me a few days ago because I called him out because he was criticizing. In the same breath, he was like, "Well, we're going to continue to have to deal with the H-1B invasion," and then in the same breath, he complained about the new policy where anyone applying for a green card has to leave the country, even though that policy is keeping Indians out. Like they're the ones who are most loudly complaining about it because it affects them. And I just said to him, like, dude, like, how are you different from Vivek Ramaswamy at this point? You basically have the same functional stance on visas, and he's not very happy with that. I'm sure he's a nice guy, though his campaign workers have painted a very different picture. But you have people who want to stake out a position of being anti-Trump, and then they get shocked when both Trump and Trump supporters reject them. And this is the whole thing of Thomas Massey's campaign, where he spent the past year, calling the Trump administration the Epstein administration and posing up to all these leftists. But because his own voters were not fond of that, he had to orient his actual campaign around, like, well, I'm best buddies with Trump, I'm an ally of Trump, me and Trump have worked together on so much stuff, and shockingly, the voters didn't fall for that.
Yeah, Massey's going to. I look forward to his hit Rumble show where he cries to a bunch of third worlders about how he lost the campaign.
Oh, yeah. Well, he might be too busy just querying AI on whether Israel is satanic or not.
The whole thing with AI is, that is an issue I actually disagree with you on. The whole data center thing is, I think fundamentally people have an issue with the data centers. One, they're an eyesore. Two, they take up a bunch of land. And three, they're just a power sink. And also, I don't support any form of cronyism when it comes to tax breaks.
I understand all that. I think those issues could be mitigated by just, if you want to run the data center, like, you have to pay the brunt of the power bill so no one else gets affected. Stick them in out of the way places, like,
stop.
It's probably best to put them in industrial areas first.
That's everyone's issue. Stop putting them in small towns. Like, we have all this rundown industrial areas in big cities. Just put them there.
And I think that is just motivated by the tax break issue, which again I also. But
yeah, I think that's really the issue, and also I think the right really made a mistake when it abandoned practical environmental concerns about certain toxic chemicals in the water and just preserving the environment. I think they really, not like hippy dippy environmentalism. Like, okay, this maybe have some benefit to the people, but the overall impact on the long-term health of the ecosystem is not worth it.
Well, very, very Goldwater, the founder of modern conservatism, basically, was a very strong conservationist. Because his logic was like, we have to use all of these, water, air, all that collectively. So it needs to be collectively protected by the government.
Yeah, and I think that's really that's where I get down. It's like, yeah, AI has a use, and we should build these things in places where they're useful. Same thing with warehouse space. Like, people just put those up every fucking where, and they're just an eyesore. Just so retard Redditors can order their slop Funko Pops.
Yeah, or I guess Indians now can spend all their time on the clock making porn and checking their horoscopes. You saw that story about, like, the one place, I forget which firm it was, I think it was either Uber or Amazon. They ran up a $500 million bill to Anthropic because someone forgot to put a use limit on the corporate cloud account. And it's like,
it was Microsoft.
Oh, it's Microsoft.
Well, yeah. These people can't code for shit. Like, the first person who, look, man, I was woke to the Indian question beforehand because I have a lot of friends who work in the tech sector, and what they said is these people cannot fucking code to save their lives. Like, they are really fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, they falsify their resumes. They steal them off of LinkedIn. They'll go so far in terms of scamming that in a remote interview where you have to be on Zoom, They will hire lookalikes to that have better English to do the interview for them.
Yeah, there's something.
They'll hire people that do the tests for them. It's like there's no limit to where they won't scam.
Well, yeah, say which the Chinese are a bit scammy too, but at least when you catch a Chinaman in a scam, like, okay, you got me.
Oh
They,
yeah.
like the Chinese are at least go, okay, fine, I did something wrong. The Indian be like, oh, sir, what do you mean I am not a doctor? And, anytime I'm on a specialist, I'm like, and I just like, nope, Indian, woman or Indian. It's a hard choice.
Yeah, it's like the meme about how do you write Indian so well? I think of a Jew and remove Indian 30 IQ points. It's like the complete shamelessness is like another aggravating aspect.
Matt,
when I worked at that ED firm, we had a lot of Indian customers, and they were always very obnoxious with how they demanded discounts and whatnot. There was one guy who, after I repeatedly, he complained about the price being too high. Now, mind you, we were running a sale for like a third off the sale price. Like the product we were selling was $900, so he was getting it for $600. He was like, "Oh, that's not enough. I deserve a bigger discount." Then he's demanding next day shipping, even if I tell him multiple times we don't do that. We're a small company. We're not Amazon. We don't have a warehouse full of diaper wearing drones to deliver these to you. 3, he keeps demanding a free penis pump, even though we used to give out a free penis pump with the product, but we had stopped doing that over a year before, and we stopped even selling pumps a few months before this guy came to buy from us. He keeps checking in every single day. Has my order shipped? He starts accusing us of scamming him because even though he's been told repeatedly, the order will be out the door in 3 to 5 business days. That's the fastest we can do it. He keeps accusing us of scamming him. He keeps, after he gets it, he keeps coming in to complain about, where's the penis pump? And he ultimately returns the product because we didn't give him a free penis pump. That stuff was habitual. Indians were maybe 5% of the overall customer base, but at least 40% of the points.
Now I just have to hear Matt Forney's adventures at working in a sex toy company. That's funny as shit.
I'm writing about that soon enough. Well, I've written a bit about that on X, that environment was very funny and very fucked up. Here's another story from that company that's completely unrelated to Indians or Boomers. The co-founder of the company, who also acted as the sort of public face, he was doing interviews on podcasts and whatnot. He was a serious cokehead. He would habitually do interviews while coked out of his mind. And at the time I joined the company, he was going through a very nasty divorce with his wife. They co-owned a men's health clinic in LA together, and they also had an open marriage. He discovers that his wife has been sleeping with patients at the clinic they owned together, including a patient who had AIDS. So one day he bursts into the clinic, just coked out of his mind, screaming at the top of his lungs, accusing his wife of being a whore who was spreading AIDS around. They had to call the cops to get him out of there. He was very telling about I asked. You couldn't script something this absurd.
I mean, to be fair, I've worked with a bunch of guys on coke, and there was this guy. This guy, by the way, this piece of shit got paid more than me, and I was better at my job than. And he was literally sitting there. You ever seen someone he got caught with heroin on the job site?
Oh boy.
He didn't get fired, but we finally got him fired as we were sitting there eating lunch, and we got him lunch, and he was just like, you ever seen someone nod off on heroin or doing the circly head thing? And then he got fired, and that fucker.
Yeah. Wow, Jesus.
And I would get yelled at for fucking everything, and it was like this guy's literally doing fucking heroin on the job, and I'm getting screamed at. What the fuck?
It happens. I mean, at that company, there was a lesbian who started in the customer service department like 3 weeks after me. Somehow got promoted past me to like head of marketing or something. I forget what bullshit excuse they gave. But she was habitually taking 2 weeks off because of stress. At one point, she was in a relationship with a trans woman and asked if our ED device would work on her trans wife. It was just generally all around incompetent. Now, to be fair, I did like her because while she was technically my manager, she never did any actual managing. So like, she just left me the fuck alone. But in terms of like substance abuse, almost everyone in my department had like some serious substance problem. My other supervisor was an alcoholic. I had a coworker who was a junkie. Another alcoholic coworker. There were a couple of dudes who were obsessed with weed. There was a cokehead.
Matt, all you're telling me is this sounds like a great sitcom idea.
Oh yeah, maybe
Like
maybe I can get it adapted after I finish my book.
Well, no, Matt, I don't think anybody's gonna let you anywhere near Hollywood. They'd be like, "Hey, aren't you that racist, like Nazi troll guy?"
I mean, a man can dream. You know,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
And plus, my proposed title probably won't. My life in the dick cult probably isn't going to work either.
I mean, look, you could always. I mean, I would say you could ask that dirty Jew Ben Shapiro, but he's now broke because he's bad at. He's the one Jew who's bad at Hollywood.
So yeah, well, that seems more like Jeremy Boring's concern. He decided to. Well, I think the idea of investing in an alternative Hollywood was a kind of a retarded idea in the first place. I mean, their inaugural flagship product was a movie that was essentially a ripoff of a 20-year-old Futurama episode.
Yeah, Lady Ballers. You didn't Lady Balls didn't wasn't funny to you?
No, it was not funny. Like I said, Futurama did it better 20 years ago.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. I watched and it's like this is just painfully unfunny.
Yeah, I mean, any project that starts with "we're going to do X but based" like always ends in failure. I used to run Terra Express, which people generally identify as a right-wing publisher. I never intended it to be an ideological project. It's just that anyone who was truly left-leaning shitlib was never going to work with me in the first place. And the whole idea was giving voice to marginalized voices, genuinely marginalized, not like, oh, I'm black, trans, queer, whatever, but like a lot of white guys who were left out of the mainstream publishing. So I just kind of evolved in that direction. But like I didn't go in with like I'm going to create Tyrant Press, but based.
Yeah, I mean the whole issue with like a overall right wing Hollywood is you would have to actually make something that's just good. Just don't make things with trannies in it or gays.
Yeah, just make something that's entertaining, and let people fill in the gaps themselves.
Yeah, man, that is true. But it's like the people who bitch endlessly about the shitty AAA studios. Guess what? I just don't give those companies money, and I just there's plenty of smaller studios that don't do those things.
Well, I mean, we're probably headed for some kind of video game crash.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think GTA 6 when it releases is going to be a massive flop. I mean, look at Borderlands 4. Everyone like back when Borderlands 1 and 2 came out, everyone had that. Like, there's not a single person who didn't have Borderlands 1 and 2. 3 fucked it up with a really mediocre story, and then 4 basically was kind of a flop.
Well, the issue with GTA 6 is like it's been in development for what, 12 years? Like, yeah. There's been so much change in the culture since then. Like, any game that's like extended out has that protracted development cycle. The hype is so big that it's not going to be able to satisfy anyone. Like, we've seen this again before with games like like Duke Nukem Forever. That used to be like the go-to example everyone had of an overhyped game that was in development for too long and disappointed everyone when it came out. Like, there's no way in GTA, if GTA 6 fails, it's probably going to take AAA games.
Well, yeah.
We've had
I mean,
Assassin's Creed,
We had a what was that one game, Concord, that cost 500 million, that complete flop of a hero shooter.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar. I know which one you're talking about. The name is kind of sweet.
You know, people's like, we should create a base game studio. It's like, yeah, okay, just create something people want. It's like that already. It's like a better version of Falls. Like that already exists. It's called Underrail. It was created by 3 Serbian guys in a shitty Belgrade apartment, and they were working on the sequel. So none of you people have any. The problem is none of these people have any discipline to actually finish anything.
I mean, I love that game, but like I've still never gotten further than Core City because it's so difficult that I.
Because you suck.
Yeah, because I suck.
It's a skill issue, man. I'm sorry, but I've gotten mostly through Underrail. It is a hard game because it's a game you actually have to sit there and you can't just be good at everything. You got to be good at like 1 or 2 things.
It reminds me of playing Morrowind or System Shock 2 back in the day, where you could be like an hour and it's like, oh my god, I completely fucked up my character. Restart.
It's an actual RPG. I fucked up my build. You know, I'll be honest, Matt. I will fight you over one thing. Fallout New Vegas is a great game, and if you say otherwise, I'll fight you.
I mean, I think it's a good game. I just think it's overhyped because, like, people are like retrospectively calling it one of the greatest RPGs of all time.
It is a really fun game that clearly needed another 8 to 9 months of development.
It's a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. It's not a 10.
It's not. Like Fallout, you know, people shit on Tactics, but Tactics is actually a really fun game.
I've never played that one. I'm pretty sure I have, but I've never played
You really should play Tactics.
I understand it's basically like Jagged Alliance 2, which I really like.
No, Tactics is probably is an underrated Fallout title. But that, yeah, and there's a lot of good games I've been playing. Like, but you know, it's like when people say like the best Star Wars games, which the best Star Wars game we all know is is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I mean, I'll take your word for it because I played the first one, but not the second.
It was the Matt, that was the shit back in the day. Like 4 players like kicking the shit out of each other. That was the fucking shit back in the day. Then again,
I like the first one, but it was basically. I mean, that's really the case for a lot of those good Star Wars games. At least around that time, they were just reskins of other games. Like Battlefront was just a reskin of Battlefield 1942. Galactic Battlegrounds was a reskin of Age of Empires 2. Doesn't make them bad, you know, but that's
that's kind of the issue. I mean, I gotta really stop buying like newer RTSs that are made in the old style because I'm like, oh wait, these campaigns are hard and I want to punch my computer. I'm only on normal. I'm not on fucking hard. Why is everything killing me?
Yeah, I haven't bought a new game in a while. I mean, I generally only buy them when I'm on sale. But you know, it's like the meme. You know, my body is a machine that turns a Steam sale into 0 hours played.
No, there's a bunch that I've gotten around to finally playing. It's just that, you know, man, some games are boring to play by yourself.
Oh yeah.
You know, because no one does 4-player compatibility anymore. Because, you know, that is actually the real breakdown of society. It's not religion. It's none of that. It's that video game consoles no longer have local co-op. That is why society is breaking down and people are being antisocial.
When Halo got rid of couch co-op, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, because I remember playing split screen with online with my with all four my 3 brothers. And you know what? People are gonna keep saying to me that like that must be really annoying. It's like, no, you kick the shit out of people when you're playing online with 4 people in the same room because your coordination is on point.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, you can actually play it in the same room as opposed to shouting for the headset. It doesn't get you asked.
Or you can just screw around and piss everyone off. You know, Matt, I think that's ultimately another thing that's destroyed right-wing men is gaming used to be overwhelmingly a male thing. Like you could shout racial slurs at people during games, saying that you're going to rape their mothers and fuck their fathers.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I think that's why Fuentes doesn't like masculinity, because he was bullied too much while playing Halo.
he didn't experience the pleasure of spamming Himmler in the Command and Conquer Red Alert 2 game on because to get around the Hitler being filtered out.
No, it's all about Command and Conquer generals and playing the what is it?
Oh come on, Generals is not.
Generals has the most ridiculous characters, though. That's why I like Generals.
It's not a Command and Conquer game. Yeah, he doesn't play like one. It doesn't have any relation to the plot. You like it, sure, but it should have been its own IP.
Oh no! See, every right wing argument always devolves into screaming about early 2000s to mid 90s video games.
It's what keeps us together.
Yeah, it is what keeps us. And I will say, Age of Empire 3 is better than 2. I like 3 a lot more than 2.
I never played 3. I kind of, by the time that came out, it was a period where I just kind of stopped playing from about 2007 to about, I guess, 2014.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the early 2000s did have there's a lot of good games that came out then,
Yeah, I'd say it peaked around like late 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah, because
all people got involved.
Yeah, that's when the retards got involved. Like 2008 was really the peak of gaming. That's when Halo 3 came out.
Yeah, I'd set the peak maybe around 2003, but 2000s was fine.
Yeah. But I'll let you go, Matt, because now that this podcast has devolved into talking about random video games.
Oh, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. And your audio still. You might want to figure out what's causing your audio issue.
Yeah, that's, I might have to start doing these in the actual studio.
Okay. Talk to you later.